It's hard to argue with people that say that the PlayStation Network is being filled with garbage, especially with the likes of Sword of Fortress making it onto the store. This is a game from the same creator of Solbrain Night of Darkness, a game that stole all of its assets from other major games from Nintendo, Microsoft, and many others in order to produce its product, and then quickly was removed from PlayStation Network. A few months later, though, he ended up producing a second game known as Spear of Destiny, and now we have Sword of Fortress, and this one's just as bad as all of his previous projects. For the most part, Sword of Fortress is an updated version of Spear of Destiny in some ways. There's a few new gameplay mechanics, but for the most part it pretty much plays like Dark Souls if it was absolutely broken. As the game begins, you're dropped into a big, open, empty field. You can run around if you like. There's a bunch of empty buildings, some of which you can kind of go inside if they're broken down, and there's actually some hit detection. I was surprised that the guy actually spent time to make the stairs kind of work in some of the buildings, though usually I still end up getting stuck on them while trying to run up. There's also plenty of invisible walls. Unfortunately, I was unable to run on the water in this game like I was in previous games from this developer. But eventually, you'll have a marker appear on your map. If you start off at the beginning and run directly to that marker, it'll take you roughly 3 to 5 minutes in order to get there. Once the battle commences, if at any point you get hit at all, it's one-hit death and you'll be starting the game over from the very beginning. And you'll have to run all the way back to wherever you were fighting whichever enemy you were at. And in fact, even when you defeat an enemy and move on to the next one, if you die, it'll reset and you'll have to start the game over from the very beginning once again. When you actually get to combat, it is as broken as you can imagine. You're able to dodge roll, do strong and light attacks, as well as use arrows. But you can't aim the arrows or anything like that. You have an unlimited supply, but you just press the button and he just flings little arrows in front of them that always are close to the ground, so it's near impossible to actually target something and hit it. Though you do have a lock-on feature if you want to use that, can help a little bit, but I still ended up missing most of my arrow shots. Since there's no health bars and no indication if I'm actually doing damage other than sound effects to the enemy, it's really hard to tell how much damage I've done and how close the enemy is to defeat. Of course, you'll quickly learn your best friend is to do a big attack, hopefully it lands, and then quickly dodge roll out of the way. This would work fine if the dodge roll worked most of the time. Basically though, your controls end up locking up. When you do a heavy or weak attack, if you press the circle button, which is the roll option, he'll instead immediately go into another attack or a boot or something else other than roll out of the way of the attack, so that you end up getting hit because of this. It doesn't happen all the time, but it definitely happened more than it should, and led to plenty of times of me dying and then having to run for 5 minutes of an empty field before I got another chance. There's plenty of other minor issues with the game as well, from texture pop-in, slowdown, and other things just completely not working. In fact, I got killed by one of the enemies one time when he wasn't even doing an attack. I just dropped dead. I guess he was doing an attack, but the game didn't actually show the animation, so I didn't know what was going on, and I couldn't roll out of the way in time. Since I've already played Solbrain Night of Darkness and Spear of Destiny, I knew exactly what I was getting into with this title, but I still had hoped it would be a little bit better. In fact, I think it's honestly worse than Spear of Destiny. The game is listed at $19.99, which is just absolutely criminal, and unlike Spear of Destiny though, it's not permanently on sale at a lower price. It's just currently set at $19.99, but at least it does have a platinum trophy, but I highly suspect no one will actually end up getting it. Of course, it's up to the consumer to decide whether or not they want to purchase a game or not. I'm just hoping by me buying it, at least some people may not end up checking it out. The game has a ton of fake ratings already on PSN, the same as Spear of Destiny, so if you're just looking at the story, you see this little trailer that actually also plays at the very beginning of the game, you may think, this doesn't look that bad. It kind of looks like a discount Dark Souls Skyrim kind of thing hybrid. And instead, it's one of the absolute worst things you will ever play in your life. Overall, this game is absolutely awful. There's really nothing positive that can be said other than it doesn't crash, and that's the only reason why I'm going to be giving it a 1 out of 10 instead of giving it that 0. Don't give this company any money, or this guy in particular any money. Don't even look at these games or talk about them. It's clear that Sony doesn't care that they exist on their system since they didn't remove his last game, and they're probably not going to end up removing this one. So just keep that in mind, and I will keep covering if he ends up putting more games out in the future, so hopefully more people don't end up buying them. But anyway guys, it's going to wrap up this review. I'd like to thank you for watching, and of course I hope you enjoyed.